Welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. My name is Lincoln Shrike. He is Gordon Mack. It is Friday, December the 4th. First podcast for me and Gordon together. What seems like a very, very long time. How are you doing today, Gordon?
Yeah, first one in the month of December at least. And the first podcast together in the 200s. What number podcast is this? What, 202, 203? Something like that?
I think it's number 203.
Yeah, I was really upset that I couldn't be a part of episode 200 because I wanted to do my favorite 200 meter marks. That was going to be the theme of the show. Or my favorite 2 flat times. So like Eliud Kipchoge running 2 flat on a racetrack, and like keep on coming up with a bunch of 2 flat, like the first 2.00 meter women's high jump. It would have been a great pod, but I was in California, so I couldn't be part of it. But you guys did a good job without me. You only talked behind my back a few times, so it wasn't that
just a couple. Just a couple. It's just always incredibly tempting to joke about you and bring you up when you're not on the podcast. And maybe you can be a part of episode 300. And I don't know what you talk about, your favorite 300 meter performances of all time. There's only like 5 of them, so that could be an easy podcast, I suppose.
What we could do though is every number. So it's is this actually number 203 that we're at?
Yeah.
Can we confirm that? So we could do, what is your favorite 203 moment in track and field, right? So
it'd have to be a women's high jump, right?
Women's high jump. I mean, who was the first 203 marathoner? That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Or
my
a 203.
Mistake. Yeah, it could be
a famous 203. Like, I'm going to go back to when I ran 203 in high school, like my sophomore year.
800.
In the 800. That's a great 203 moment. And that's in the top 10 for sure. So maybe we can start thinking about that. We'll try to find our episode number in track and field. And we had to come up with great moments in 203 in track and field.
History.
So in history. So,
but yeah. Well, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you're right. I think the marathon would open the best conversation. I don't know if a 203 high jump, albeit a great mark, is going to necessarily be a super interesting conversation. But you mentioned 200, and I feel like it's a good place to start because today, in a kind of surprising move, at least in my eyes, the Diamond League announced for 2021, they're reinstating all the events that they eliminated last year to a bunch of criticism. So the steeple is back, the 5K, the 200, the triple jump, and the discus, all back part of the program. It was a big win for athlete advocates like Christian Taylor. I know Valerie Adams was mentioned, the New Zealand shot putter, as a big advocate for bringing events back, although her event was not necessarily affected. But this was surprising. They made such a big push last year to get these events out, in the sense that, we're trying to make a more condensed program, 90 minutes, not 2 hours, more watchable. These athletes that aren't that can't do the 200 steeple 5K and triple jump, they could do other events, this, that, and the other. We had to cut some events because there's too much overlap. Well, now the athletes had an uproar and they are back, and the program is once again 2 hours. What's your reaction to the Diamond League reinstating these events?
They shouldn't have caved to the pressure. I know that's
we get Noah Lyles in the 200 though.
I know, but like, why not see Noah Lyles in 100 more often? We already know he's good in the 2. Let's see him get his 100 time better. If he wants to be the next Usain Bolt, he can't be a 200 meter runner. He needs to be a 100 meter runner. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the whole getting rid of these events, was like an all-time great steepler is not the same as an all-time great miler or 5K runner, or so triple jump, the long jump is more prestigious than the triple jump. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of duplicating events, and I know some people really love doubling and tripling at track meets, but there is something about,
I don't know, maybe that tripled at a Diamond League, but
I know, but I mean, when you speak specifically about the 200, it would be super annoying if every Diamond League Christian Coleman is winning the 100 in this world that Coleman is running. Christian Coleman is winning the 100 and Noah Lyles is winning the 200. And that's just like what we're seeing every time. It's like, why don't they race each other? Oh, because they don't need to. Yeah, well, why don't
Yeah.
we make them? Oh, well, they get to do two different events, but they're both sprinters. Nah, there's two different sprinting events, which doesn't make, there's not two different basketball games. There's one basketball game, right? There should be one sprinting event. I think that's my unpopular opinion. Uh, they caved. I think they'll go back in a year or two to be like, all right, we're lowering events, because I have always been an advocate the track and field should not be 18 events. If we want our sport to be popular, it needs to be a simpler sport. And I think people who are diehard track fans saying like, we don't need to conform, you're just like, you don't love the true essence of athletics. And I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
it's not about that. It's like, no one, like, there's a reason, like it's the same reason why like that no one really gets excited for the World Half Marathon Championships. I know you guys try to get as excited as you could this past year, but like in the end, nothing will compare to the marathon. Like half marathon, woo, like no one is like getting up to like DVR the half marathon championships the way they would a major marathon or an Olympic trial marathon. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I just think
Yeah.
less event
No, and I
needs
understand.
more focus on gets more eyes on the same thing. It's not diluted. We shouldn't dilute our product. And we're diluting it by not
Yeah.
letting Noah Lyles race the best 100-meter runner or,
Yeah.
something.
I understand, people have jobs in world athletics and they want to accomplish things, and trying to make fundamental changes to the way the product is presented to the fans. You look at it from a popularity standpoint, and you say, well, what can it hurt? Okay, the athletes may get upset, but we are clearly lagging behind, well behind any team sports. Like, it's worth it to try to shorten the program, make it a short and sweet type of a fan experience. But at the same time, I think you realize that things changes as they did. Cutting events is more about, it's kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face type of a situation, where you wonder, what does it actually achieve other than agitating the specific athletes? And I think there was enough negative PR from people like Christian Taylor, and I think of Emma Coburn saying she's not going to run in the Diamond League. That's just kind of like, what's the purpose? I mean, we're cutting away 30 minutes from a meet, and it's not like we're going to see a ton of tangible difference. I understand they took that survey, or they put out that survey where people said, oh, these are our least favorite events, and in across all the disciplines of track and field, all the event subgroups. But I just don't think, even in the small sample size of 2020, with everything being shortened, I don't think you could say that this was going to make any tangible impact to increase the popularity of the sport. So at that point, if that's the case, why are you continuing to cut these down? Maybe they were trying to save money, but again, I don't know how much that's going to do. It just was. I think it's a smart decision for them to bring it back, simply to keep your athletes engaged and um, not have any distrust for what World Athletics is necessarily going to do with the sport going forward. And it's a sign to me that, World Athletics is going to listen to the athletes. They've taken the criticism, and they are hearing it. And although, I could be swayed one way or the other, like I at the time could listen to the argument. Yeah, we don't need the 200. The people can run the 100. Some people can run the 4 and the steeple. It's like, some of these athletes can run another event, and it's kind of a key thing. And the 5K, they've got the 3K. Like, I can listen to all that, but you do then wonder, what is that actually achieving? Getting rid of that, like, is that making the 1500 more popular? Not necessarily. The 3K, they're going to do that. Well, that's not even a real championship distance. So it just didn't seem to be accomplishing all that they thought it was. And if the biggest thing is it's a drawback for athletes, I just think you have to walk that back, which they did.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not going to all of a sudden make the viewership numbers go tenfold because they got rid of the 200. Oh, now everyone grab your popcorn and everyone is
Yeah,
get excited about it. However, I mean, what 2020 is the first year they did it.
Kind
So
of.
they never
A real
really
season.
truly, like people say about socialism.
Exactly.
They
That's
never
why it's
really
kind of
truly
weird.
tried the socialism, right?
100%.
We haven't gone
that's a
all in.
strange thing.
So that's the weird part.
strange
Yeah,
thing.
I think they're just
Which
trying
is
to like create good news so people can be excited. I don't know.
which is odd because things had, there's been other controversies since then. The pandemic has made arguments about taking away certain events kind of meaningless. So you would have thought, well, we didn't even
We could
get
got
to
away with it.
try this. Yeah, we could. I mean, people aren't going to complain. They would have forgotten that we even cut these events. So it's interesting. Obviously, they're listening to the athletes though, who are still very much concerned about it. Okay, so back to status quo for 2021.
Yeah, I do have one thought though. If World Athletics truly wanted to prove their point, they should just release the data from their 2019 World Athletics results page. The results page. They had the one source of where all the results are, their live results that they own the rights to. They know how many people clicked on the 100-meter results, the 200-meter results, the 400, and they could show, hey, look, no one is even checking in on this event's results. Why are we investing in an event that no one cares about who the world champion is for, right?
You think that is a foolproof method of just looking at the traffic numbers of results? You think that's foolproof?
I mean,
side of popularity?
It makes sense, right? If no one is going to check,
a lot of people watch the event instead of looking at the results. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's people watch event, but like you could also look at that like viewership numbers at any moment and like how many when they put up every archive of every event. Look at the YouTube numbers, right? You could literally put together how many people watch the archive videos on YouTube for every event.
Yeah,
you could look at viewership spikes during timestamps and then how many people look at results. I say this because I've done this before. There was a point when we had the results for, I think, the 2015 USA Champs.
Okay.
Or 16 or 17. One of the USA Champs. And I don't think we had results page and I had the data. I found the data, basically. I found the data and then I looked at it and it was eye-opening to see what results people clicked on, right? To see who won USA's. And it was exactly what you thought it would be. The result, the events that you think weren't going to be as popular were at the bottom. Yeah. The events that you thought would be popular were at the top. And it's by a lot too. It's like, it's like if a factor of like, if 10,000 people are clicking on a 100-meter result and 500 people are clicking on, I won't say the event, but there are certain events that people don't care about, are clicking on that result. It shows, it's like, wow, why, if something is literally almost 20 times more popular, they shouldn't be treated equally. And I think that's what Diamond League was trying to do. They're trying to
I agree.
Give more love to other events. But anyway, it's an argument I know I'll never win. But
do you think like the powers that be, hold on. Do you think the powers that be of athletics, track and field, continue to keep around events that aren't globally popular simply because they're being nice? Like, what is the argument you think for carrying events that are costing bodies money every year, and they're trying to make a profit, and it's very difficult to do in track and field, very hard. And they're just like, every year it comes up at a board meeting or something, and they're like, we got to get rid of this event. We're like, no, that'll get like 12 people mad. Like,
no, if that's the case,
that's crazy.
That's what they do, man. I mean, these governing bodies aren't allowed to act like a business. Sometimes they have to act like a, equality, equal, treat everything equally, right? So they have to give the same amount of love they give to the 100-meter world champion as they give to the race walk world champion, right? And I use race walk as my ultimate because most people will be like, yeah, why do we still do the race walk? But why do we still do race walk? Yes, there is a part of Twitter that gets really upset that race walks get shit on. They get really upset when race walk didn't have both men and women in a certain event in the Olympics. It's this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, it is what was I going to say? Regardless, it's fine. Oh, like, think about this. People are really excited about a meet tonight and tomorrow where there's only 2 events, the 5K and 10K. But no one is out there being like, why isn't there the 110 hurdles in this event? Because it wouldn't be an exciting event to watch if we also had to watch the 110 hurdles, the 400-meter dash, the 200, the triple jump, the shot put. People just want to watch the 5K and the 10K, right? And that happens a lot. You have these pop-up mile events. These pop-up mile events don't have people tweeting at them, where's your pop-up steeple? Like, no one is like they get it. Like, hey, people are doing a mile. But like, and that's what I think the Diamond League was trying to do. They're trying to be like, hey, there is something about when you hone in on certain things, you know?
Yeah.
And they were trying to hone in, and people were like, no, you can't hone in. So, anyway.
Yeah. You wonder if World Athletics got a message from higher up, like maybe the IOC said, we don't, as approaching an Olympic, I don't know this, but approaching an Olympic year, let's not have this division. Because it just seems odd that a business, like you said, would just listen to athletes simply because they don't want this relatively small amount of negative press. That doesn't seem like enough incentive to continue to carry an event or an event, sorry, an event series that could be losing you money or is dragging the sport down. It's just, it's strange to me. I understand from what I'm seeing why they brought it back, if it really wasn't that making that big a difference on viewership or what, but long term, I do think track is still due for some trimming at the edges at the minimum. So, and I know you agree with that, even though your opinion is a little bit more extreme than mine of what needs to be done. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. I'm doing okay. Last little news hit before we get started on our main bit of previewing this track meet you were discussing. 2015 World 800-meter champion Marina Arzamazova of Belarus has been given a 4-year ban. Last year, a long time ago now, 2019, she got hit with a provisional suspension for like an anabolic steroid type of a product. It's called LGD 4033, a muscle growth agent. Man, I feel like I've got a muscle growth agent in my throat right now. So she has been banned. I mean, her career was effectively over, but it now is particularly over. She's, I believe, 32 years old. Another one bites the dust, Gordon.
Yeah, I'll be honest, didn't know who this person was. I
2015
guess,
world champ.
Yeah. I mean, clearly she didn't have a lasting impression on her performance didn't have a lasting impression on me. So,
yeah. She won a world title in a year in 2015 where Caster Semenya was not at her usual level for, I think, unfortunately, scientific reasons. So she snuck in and kind of got a fluky title, but now there is, I would think, not that she's going to get her medal stripped, but much more scrutiny on the legitimacy of that 2015 world title, considering that she was doping later on in her career. Can't just assume that, and they won't be able to prove that, but when she kind of came out of nowhere back then, and now she 5 years on, has a 4-year bust, doesn't look good for the way she's going to be, viewed in history. All right.
Yeah, Melissa Bishop was second in that race, and Eunice Soom was third.
Yes. So. Yeah. It was an upset, not quite on the level of last year's world champs, where Halima Nakayi of Uganda won, but it was a significant upset nonetheless. All right, so let's move on to our track meet preview, which sounds generic, but that's the name. It's the Sound Running track meet. Starts tonight and runs through tomorrow. As you mentioned earlier, just 5Ks and 10Ks. Tonight's 5K night in America. A bunch of pace groups. You got on the men's side 14 flat group, a 13:45 group, a 13:30 group, and then finally the premier event, the sub 13:15 group. On the women's side, we have a sub 15:30 race and a sub 15:10, and then tomorrow we have 10Ks, 2 for each gender, where the premier races will be a sub 27:30 attempt for the men and a sub 31:30 attempt for the women. A lot of people trying to hit Olympic standards, clearly. And man, the mixture here of college and professional athletes is going to make this really fun. Do you have a specific race you want to start with?
Well, I think what we could do is let's just go in order of the schedule. Every event, even the slower events, if we don't see anyone named that we kind of recognize, we can skip over it. But let's just go in order from first race to last race that ends on Saturday. So first race is a sub 14-minute race. I don't really know any of these names. I'm guessing some of them are high school kids.
Not a single one.
Yeah, don't know any of them. Maybe the high school. Maybe I should know this. But yeah, we'll skip that one. So moving on to the next one, you had the sub 13:45 men's race. Looking at this field, I mean, I see some like fringe, like All-American type NCAA athletes, and
see a D2 name in there.
Who's Carson Bix?
Yeah, him too. But I was thinking Charlie Sweeney. I also think former House Majority Leader Paul Ryan in the mix as well.
Hopefully he's running with his weights. But yeah, I see some college kids like Jack Aho. I think Jackson Sharp got moved up to the 13:30 race.
Hold on, I gotta correct myself. Paul Ryan was the speaker of the House.
What'd you say?
I think House Majority Leader. I think that's different.
I just the House Majority Leader is the Speaker of the House.
Good. So I corrected myself for no reason. Okay, well, go on. It's not actually that person. It was a joke, in case anyone at home is confused.
Just like how there's a Tom Brady who runs like at Michigan right now, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, the greatest.
So nothing really out of this race. I think you might have the winner.
Carlos Villarreal, though.
Yeah, Carlos Villarreal means a miler. I think what we're going to do, I think the winning time of this race is probably going to be 13:48 maybe. Wow. And it's going to be a college kid. And you'll be like, hey, okay, looking good. And it's going to be like someone like, if I had to pick the winner, I bet it's going to be someone like.
It's really hard to know, right? It's really hard to know who's fit, who's not.
I'd say Devin
Mayer.
Yeah, Devin Mayer.
Big.
That's going to be my.
That's
going
to be Michigan's own.
Michigan's own. He transferred from Baylor, I think.
Baylor. He's in Michigan. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so next race, 15:30 women's race. You have, again, it's kind of similar to that men's race where you kind of have a hodgepodge of current college athletes and like first year, second year post-collegiate athletes. Look at his names. You have Haley Herberg, who's at Washington, Grace Barnett at Clemson, Sarah Vaughn's in that race, Ali Shadler, Olivia O'Keefe, Fiona O'Keefe's younger sister, Taryn O'Neill, NAU. So you have some NAU action in this race. Again, I don't know who's going to win. I think the winning time of this is going to be a 15:40. If I had to guess,
you're picking the over on all of these. What's going on?
Yeah, taking the over. I'm taking the over on the sub elite races. I just feel like I don't know. I don't think the pacing on these races won't be as good as the pacing on the faster races. So yeah, I'm saying 15:40, maybe 15:39. I'll give you that 15:39, and I'm going to go with. I'll go with Gabrielle Jennings. That's what I'll go with. Furman.
Yeah,
So
she's been good in the past. Um, I have a question. All these college athletes, are there schools paying for this? Who is
no,
funding all these college athletes being out? Are
I
they
think they're
paying their own
I,
way?
I think they're paying their own way. I mean, a lot of them are probably close by. A lot of these people, some of them are, training in flag like the NAU athletes, but they're not. I don't
This is in
believe
Orange
it's going
County.
to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe
Okay.
it's going to be. Their parents buy them $100-$200 ticket for a Christmas gift. It's their Christmas gift from their parents. How about that?
Is
Put
that
it
is
that way.
that how much plane tickets are these days? 100, 200
It's
bucks?
it's
What year is this? 1980?
dude. It's cheap right now, dude. I just went
Mm,
to. I just bought a flight to go home for Christmas to Newark. Austin to Newark is $30.
yeah, pandemic does have some effects on flying, I suppose.
Yeah, so I think that it's not. It's actually not that bad. Um, but yeah, I did look into it before we get to the next races, but I do not believe any of these athletes will their marks count
Mm,
towards
into
NCAA
like
indoor
qualification.
qualifying, and they won't
Well,
count
it is an
as
outdoor race.
collegiate. They're all going to be running
Right.
unattached, I believe.
Yeah. Everybody's gonna be wearing their NXN uniform.
Yeah, basically. So I did ask that because when we talk about the next few races, when we talk about collegiate record attempts and you know whatever, like the Nico Youngs and Luis Grijalvas of this world, it's apparently not going
Yep,
to count as any official NCAA record
understandable.
book. So,
All
do you have
right.
any thoughts on that 1530 race?
I don't. I think of Sarah Vaughn, who made a world team in the 1500 a couple years ago. She's coming back from a pregnancy a couple years ago. So her name is interesting, even though the 5K not necessarily her specialty. But as far as athletes with the most experience, it's certainly her in that 1530 group. But yeah, no idea who's really going to win, and I don't think that's too much. That's not lack of research. That's simply the fact of, well, maybe it's a little bit lack of research, but there's just been nothing going on, right? We have no idea who's going to be the fittest. There's just been so little racing domestically that it's really you are just pulling names out of a hat, I think, if you're trying to guess. Now, this next race, I think we can deduce a little bit better who the favorites are. This
Yeah.
is when we're really starting to get into some of the A-level names. And by A-level, I mean we have the Olympic 1500 meter champion in this, Matt Centrowitz, no doubt running this as a training effort. But Gordon, interestingly, that he is in the sub 1330 race when there's a sub 1315 effort, considering this man is a 13 flat 5K runner. What is Matt Centrowitz doing in the 1330 group instead of the 1315?
What he's doing? He's doing something either before or after this race.
Mm,
That's what he's doing. He is turning it into a race simulation workout where he's going to put in a 1330 effort and then go off and do some 2 mile repeats or 200s or 400s or something after. Or, it's going to be like what NOP does at the UW Invitational during indoors where they're running like 2 races and they're doing something in between or after. It's purely a workout purpose for
yeah.
Centro, if I had to guess. It's not like he's like, hey,
Okay.
I really want to break 1330, man. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
do. He has nothing to prove. It's just hey, you get to practice getting on the track in a race environment. You might have to kick at the end, and then you get to go to do your second portion of your workout. That's what I think that
That's fine.
purpose of him
I
in
just
there.
would love to see him in a. I mean, I think he could still do that in a sub 1350 race. I mean, how out of shape are
Yeah.
we if you've run 13 flat like this? I understand this is like a glorified tempo. I mean, he should. I understand it's a long time until serious racing begins, but my goodness, I mean, come on, you run 13 flat. Okay. Other big names in this, obviously, Nico Young is here. This will be a big showcase for him and kind of a bounce back effort after running an 8:10 3K a couple weeks ago. Casey Klinger also in this one. I would be tempted, depending on how invested Centro is, if Centro's content to just kind of hang around and just get a workout in, and Klinger is really like, I want to make a statement. I mean, I would almost have Klinger as favorite 1B to Centro's 1A. I think this is his breakout race. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Klinger's going to run well. I do think there's still I think there's a bunch of blend of other people. I don't think it's just a Nico Young, Klinger, Centrowitz type trio. I think
Well,
I
I don't
think
think
Cole
Young's going
Hawk.
to be competitive. First off, I mean, I don't think
No,
Nico
yeah,
Young's going to be up front at all.
he might. You never know.
He's not
I
breaking
mean,
1330. He's not breaking
no,
1330.
that's true. But he's going to be in the top 8, I think. Maybe in the back half of that top 8. Uh, but yeah,
Let's
this one
see.
some other interesting names. Cole Hawker, who just ran a good time trial 3K with his teammate Cooper Tier. I think he ran
What do
like
you run? I didn't see
740,
this.
like
Oh, 740.
746 maybe.
Oh, wow.
740 something. So he's going to be looking good. Jackson Sharp of Wisconsin ran well at the Indiana cross country meet, but then he got bumped up to the 1330 field. He's a Australian, I believe. So maybe he's the next. This is his chance to be like, I'm the next Morgan McDonald. Charlie Hunter's a good miler. Christopher Ollie, Elias Gideon, Will Paulson, Andrew Jordan, Neville Bard, Cameron Griffith. Cameron Griffith might be the dark horse of the group, I think, because he's pretty good. Cameron Griffith is a good miler. He's a good 5K runner. Yeah. But yeah, most of the names kind of all blend together. I do think Klinger is probably the one who I'm most excited about, and I think will do the best because Klinger has like a big he's coming back from the mission, right? So he showed that he's in shape. He ran well at the Oklahoma State meet, but I think Klinger is kind of thinking, not really thinking like he's thinking like the college ways, like, hey, I want to be a top 3 consistent guy these next few years in the NCAA world, and this is his first chance to like race against NCAA quality type competition. Whereas all the other guys are just a bunch of post collegiates who are just trying to be like looking for to like see if they got the fitness, right? Like none of these guys are really Olympic like Olympic hopefuls in 2021, I would say. Like I would say most of them are really well, obviously Central, but like I think most of them are really thinking like 2024 is the time where I'll be the best I can be, and we're just all building up for that. And this is kind of just like, hey, we're post collegiates now. Let's run out. Let's do something fast. So yeah, Klinger I think is the one who has the most to run for because he wants to prove himself that he's fit back from mission. Young, that's the wild card with, hey, is the junior American record up for grabs? I don't think it is based on his 810, but I did talk to his coach. He says that 810 is not indicative of his fitness. It's more indicative, and I can't say that word. Indicative of just like not being race sharp. He told me a workout he did like 3 days before that race that was like good. He like did like 8 or 10 miles in Buffalo Park, so at 7,000 feet at like a ridiculously good pace. So Nico Young is good. He's not an 8:10 3K runner. He's a lot better.
Is he though? You said mentioned American junior record 13:25:46. I think is German Fernandez's record from way back when. So that would be an awfully tough one to crack. All right, the next race, the 15:10 women's race. Only race on here, Gordon, that the winner has already been determined. Shelby Houlihan is in this field. She's run 14:23. She's the American record holder in the 5,000, also the 1,500. She is the best athlete in this meet, period. How fast is Shelby Houlihan going to run in this 15:10 race? Is she going to just hang around and then blow everyone's doors off the last 800? Is she going to try to run? She's not going to. This isn't an American record attempt, clearly, because it is December. We're not used to running outdoor meets in December, but she also isn't going to run 15:08. Is a time in the 14:40s to be expected? Like, how do you view what she's going to do tonight in this 5,000?
I think she's going to run it like a race. I think she's not going to pull away until 600 to go. And I think she just wants
to walk in the park for her, though.
Yeah, it is a walk in the park, but I think you just kind of want to like see how fast you can close in a championship style race. You know, I mean, who's like the toughest competition. Okay, Kim Conley,
Elise
who's
Cranny. Elise
older.
Cranny.
I mean, at least Cranny's in there.
Her
Abby
teammate.
Cooper coming off of injury.
No. No.
Leah Fallen. No. Heidi C. The
No.
Flanagan
It's
sisters from
Emily
Adams State.
Lepari, maybe. Emily
Emily
Lepari is running a
Lepari.
5K. But
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it's
no one
Houlihan and
really in
Cranny.
her league.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Houlihan
I
and Cranny.
think Cranny. Yeah, Cranny and Houlihan. Maybe this is like. Yeah, I don't even know what to think. Heather Camp. I didn't know she's still going. She's still at it. I feel
Tough.
like she's always
Um,
at a bunch of like mile road races. She's like the queen
Good
of the
road
mile
miler,
road.
Gordon. Good road
Yeah.
miler. There's decent money in road miles. I give her props for chasing those. Yeah, I expect a little bit more out of Houlihan. I think she'll get antsy and I think her presence will make the race faster as a whole. I just think it's hard to get out there and run 15:10 pace. I mean, it's not like she's with a teammate. She's not pacing a teammate to try to get a standard. Cranny's already running the 1440s. It's not necessary for that. I know it's they're still going to be building up. I'm sure they're just in base phase right now in Portland, but I tend to think this is going to be running in the 1440s for her with just a fast last mile because she can't help it. She just cannot help it. She's too good. She's 14:23.
I look at this the same way that Centro's in the 13:30 race, right? Centro is 30 in a race that's 30 seconds slower than his PB, and that's what Houlihan's in. It's a lot even more slower, but like I think Jerry was like, "Hey, I need to put you. I don't want to put you in. I want to put you in a race where it's very kind of far from your PR, and you're doing something right after this. Like I think Shelby is. This is one of the segments of her big track meet workout, right? And I think they need to get a second stream, just following Shelby and Centro, and show what they're doing before and after, because that's gonna be the more impressive thing than whatever time they do in this race."
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I think Houlihan is again. I don't think she's going to. It's like 1440. Then you're running by yourself the entire time. I just feel like she's going to
Maybe
want to
Cranny.
run. Yeah, I guess. But then it's like, why come all the way here if just the two of you could just do that by yourself? I guess.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit more confident that it's going to be quicker. It's like what is the point of I mean, okay, so they haven't raced since July. Is that the point? Like maybe they would be doing, they didn't get to do any like typically, the New York City Marathon throws on like a road 5K. They didn't get, not that Houlihan's done that, but I mean, I think Centro's done it in the past. Like those types of like rust busting efforts. Maybe that's what this is in place of. That's the only thing I can really
I
think
think that
of because they're such a different Cranny and Houlihan, and obviously Houlihan herself are just in such a different class than the rest of this field that you have to wonder why they're here if they're just going to jog with everybody else and then kick.
I think I know exactly what they're going to run.
Okay, do tell.
Hold on. It's going to be exactly like this race. It's going to be like the 2019 Sunset Tour, where it's going to be like the 2019 Sunset Tour, where
I was there.
You were there,
Mm-hmm.
where the Bowerman women went 1, 2, 3. Carissa Schreiser won 15:01, and they all ran like just 15:0 by himself. I think Cranny and Shelby were both around 14:59. 14:59,
Well, at least
15:01, and I think then they'll just go on and do a workout after.
Okay. Well, at least we both think it's going to be sub 15. I at least need that out of this group. All right, let's move on to the main show on the men's side, the sub 13-15 group. Headliners in this one: Drew Hunter, Sam Parsons, and Luis Grijalva. You also have Olympian Ben Blankenship stepping up a little bit in distance, and Cooper Tier. Don't forget about the Oregon star. He could be a factor here. Grijalva's the name that I think a lot of people are looking at to possibly. It's tough to call him the favorite, but I'm calling him the favorite because he beat Drew Hunter recently. He's just been on fire for like a year now. Are you confident that the collegiate's going to beat a lot of these pros?
Yeah, I think Grijalva's going to win. I think he'll Yeah, I think Grijalva runs like 13, 11. I'm
People at
trying to think of
home,
the number.
maybe listening, they
Thir-
missed your face there. You looked like that was really painful for you.
well, I was trying to come up with what it is. I'm trying to be a good betting man and come up with the great over unders. I think 13,
Sure.
11 is what the winning time is going to be. I think
Okay.
Cooper Tier is probably going to run like 13, 16, 17. I think
Wow.
Drew Hunter. I think Luis Grijalva is going to run away with it. I think it's not going to be close. I think
Hmm.
Blankenship will probably run like 13, 20 something. Uh, but yeah, I think Grijalva is going to beat everyone by like 50 meters.
Wow. That is, I don't, I think it's going to come down to a last lap for several people. Now we have Grijalva beating Hunter, whatever it was, a couple weeks ago in that 3K. So, I mean, that really helps the situation, put things into context. We know how fit Hunter is. And by extension, then we should know, well, maybe Parsons, because he trains with him every day, is right around that effort, that level. Jeff Thies is a 10-man guy. Brian Barraza as well. You know, those guys have typically been behind Drew Hunter, and so we do the transitive property. We put Luis Grijalva ahead of all that group, and then it comes down to, do you think he's better than Cooper Tier and Ben Blankenship? Blankenship's not really a 5K guy, even though he can run it. It feels like two college guys could go 1-2 here. I could be pretty confident in Grijalva and Tier in some order doing this. I mean, we're talking about Tier, a guy who was on fire at the beginning of 2020, the same as Grijalva, running 355, running, anchoring his team to a collegiate record in the DMR. I think he's slightly underrated despite being at Oregon. I could easily see these guys going 1-2, and I just have seen more of Grijalva recently, so I'm inclined to pick him, but I could see it going the other way as well.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of these like Ben Blankenship, I think like he's going to run well, but I don't think Ben Blankenship is ready to be like winning a 5K race against like a 740 type guy right now. I know Ben
Mm-hmm.
Blankenship's also can run in that round, but I feel like he's just not training for being race sharp in December in a 5K. I think he's just getting out to get fitness. So I think he's still going to run like 13, 20 something. But yeah, I think Grijalva is just going to drop everyone. For some reason, I have that feeling. I think Cooper Tier is the biggest wild card because we don't know him as much. We've
Sure.
been seeing more of Grijalva. Oregon hasn't been running cross country. And then Drew Hunter should still be in the mix. But none of the other names really pop out as anything. Yeah, that there's not like another name. I think it's going to be a Grijalva, Hunter, Cooper Tier, maybe Blankenship, and then the rest are kind of just going to be there.
Feel like we do need to. There's a man named Joseph Tessema. I recognize his name. I do feel like I need to chart his. What is his 5K PR? Okay, he's run 13:22, which is outside of this. I don't know why I feel like he deserves. Maybe I'm confusing him with another person. You always you always say these things, and then you like, oh, I should have mentioned that guy, like Sam Atkin, former NAIA dude who has
Ches
beaten
DeShore.
Has beaten Cheserek. He ran 13:23 in August at one of these sound running meets. He feels like a big time sleeper. I mean, so there's other guys in there, so we don't want to just automatically assume it's going to be Grijalva, but man, Grijalva's just been doing so well recently that it's tough to deny him. All right, let's move on to the 10Ks, and that pushes us onto Saturday evening. 2 heats for each gender. The women, the sub 32-25 group. I mean, this is a bunch of women who would be, I think, hoping to qualify for U.S. championships. You do have Fiona O'Keefe, though, in this group. Not making her New Mexico debut, but running for the first time since transferring to New Mexico, the former Stanford All-American. Other names of note in here, I guess Devin Clark of Arkansas, or formerly of Arkansas, or of Arkansas. Can't remember.
Formerly of Arkansas.
Okay, there you go. And I recognize some names, but nobody like pops out to this.
Yeah.
This is the appetizer to the entree that'll be coming in the sub 3130 group.
Yeah, I think Fiona O'Keefe. I talked to Joe Franklin, her coach. He said that she's fit, so be interesting to see what she does. She's probably out there just to get a good effort and not ready for the 3130 group, but You kind of forget about, sometimes it's kind of weird. We forget about certain athletes who don't have cross eligibility, but do have outdoor, indoor, or something like that, who transferred, kind of like, what's his name? Who's the guy, North Carolina, like Alex Osberg, people
Oh
forgot
yeah,
about him, but he's pretty good, right? So it'll
yeah,
be
he's
interesting to
pretty
see
good.
what she does. The next race, a little more interesting. It's a sub 28 race for the men. Notable names I would say on here are Sydney Getabuti, who hasn't
Boom.
really put anything together much as as opposed to collegiate yet. Alex
But
George
training
is
with
pretty
him.
good. He's training with Timon. Alex George is pretty good. Former Arkansas guy. I think he's British. Um, Nico Montañez is in this race,
Yep.
former BYU guy who has been doing good on the roads, had to break out half marathon in Houston. I think the name I'm most excited to see here is Abdi Hamid Nur,
Could have bet
another
that.
NAU guy, but
Yeah.
Abdi Hamid had a really good freshman year at NAU. I think Abdi Hamid might win this race, and if he
Oh wow.
does, I mean, I think he's in shape, right? I mean, who else? None of these names are really like Alfred Chilenga. We haven't seen Alfred Chilenga from Alabama in like 2 years. Is he in shape? A bunch of these
Training
guys
with
are
Tinman.
like
Another Tinman guy. Everybody's on
Alfred
Tinman now.
Chilenga. It's a Tinman guy.
He's a Tinman guy.
Really?
According to the Instagram.com, with him running reps with the group and wearing the old Tinman hat. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think I think Abdi Hamid wins this race, and I think Mike is making sure he's in this race, so it gives him some confidence to be like, go in there, win this race, and then next year you're ready to be in that bigger group.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because, yeah, I don't even you have the confidence in Nur. I don't necessarily do. I think he was, I don't know. He kind of
Overhyped?
underwhelmed to me at that
Oh.
Oklahoma State meet.
Oh, they weren't trying, dude. I was there. They were just like, whatever.
Okay.
I can
Well,
tell you that.
sub 28 is awfully ambitious, I think, for this group. I think this is going to be closer to a 28-30 race, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Sub
agree with
28,
that.
I don't see anybody here that's got 27 attached to their name. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. This is just one where we don't really know who's what at any stage. We've got some pros that are from the roads, like you mentioned with Montañez. You got some Hanson's Brook Projects guys who've been running on the roads up in Michigan, racing on the road. So it's really hard to know. Getabuti, I mean, he's the guy that has that potential, you would think. I mean, somebody that ran in the 1330s as a freshman at a Division II school, but it's been kind of slow going for him of late. So it's real tough to know. But it will have my interest nonetheless, if only for the fact that it's not one of the later races. Man, some of these races that are 9:20 on West Coast time, I got a 4-month-old, man. It's tough for me to be up that late. We'll see though. All right, the women's. Okay, go ahead.
For this women's one, there's one coming up. These men and women's 10Ks, I think, are the two best races of the entire meet, in my opinion.
Agreed. Agreed.
And in order to kind of break down how we're going to go through this race, I think what we should do is we're going to do a draft. We're each going to draft 5 women, and then we're each going to draft
Okay.
5 men, and then we're going to score it cross country style. And whoever wins wins what?
Okay.
Whoever wins has to Postmates deliver a 6-pack of beer to the other person.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
Okay.
My wife will love a 6-pack showing up on our doorstep.
There you go. So, you're confident you're going to win. All right. And the winning will be the lowest combined score, right? So the drafting style, we each get to draft first in one of the events. I'll let you decide. Do you want to draft first in the men's event or the women's event?
The men's event, I want to draft first.
Okay. So I'll draft first. Oh, that's smart, but damn it. I should not give you that option. So I'll go first in the women's event. So I get to go first.
Okay, go for it.
With the number 1 overall pick.
Tough.
Am I going to do it? I think I might do it. I'm going to draft.
I know you're.
You don't know who? Do you know who I'm going to take? I think I'm going to draft Kira. I'm going to draft Kira D'Amato, number 1.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy because of how well she's been running. Yeah, not a year ago, you would have been like, "Who is that? What?" No, it's a good pick. I mean, she's been on fire for 6 months. I 100% agree with that pick. That's who I would have gone. she just had a 10 mile American. I mean, this is someone who was like a real estate agent, or maybe still is a real estate agent. I was recently. It's nuts. Her ascent has just been crazy. Now, what is her 10K PR is something I need to know, because I know she ran a decent 10K in the summer, but it wasn't necessarily fast. She ran 32:33. So, I mean, this is going to be a big step up in time. I mean, I think she's capable, but you do have to believe that she's ready to lop off a big chunk of time off her PB.
Yeah. I mean, she's run 15:04 in a 5K. So
that helps.
Yeah, that does help. Yeah. I think if she wins this race, though, which I'm thinking she is because I'm picking her, it's like you have to start like consider. I mean, because Kellen Taylor's in this race, Stephanie Bruce. Trying to think other notable like top 6 finishers in the 10K at USA's last year. I'm not sure. I don't remember all of it, but like if you're beating Kellen Taylor and Steph Bruce, if that happens, like Kellen Taylor is a contender to get a top 3 spot in the 10K. And if Kira can go out there and beat her in this race,
it's huge. Yeah, it's the race of her life so far, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's definitely a litmus test race. The biggest litmus test that she's gonna have all year. It's bigger than her 10-mile American record temp, bigger than her 5K time trials. This is, if she wins this, she will be in every 10K Olympic trials race preview that is written on all the publications.
She's can't wait for that. Words on the internet, my name on the internet. Okay, I'm going to go with Kellen Taylor for the number 2 overall pick, third at USA's in 2019. She is as solid as they come. She's running the 31s, which I think is a big deal here. The veteran NAZ elite athlete. That's who I'm going with. Who do you got for number 3?
Number 3, I'm going with Wayne Kaladi.
Okay.
Going wild. Going with the collegiate.
New Under Armour. Wearing that Under Armour kit.
New Under Armour kit. I just, she's the most known. I feel like known. Like I know that she was running on all 5 cylinders, 10 cylinders, indoors coming off a lot of cylinders. 1 NCAA in 2019. She would have been. We're like a few. This is when she would have been doing her BU season opener, right? And if you look at her projection of BU season openers in the 5K, she's run like 15:20, then 15:15, and then like 15:13. So this is when she's ready to run good 5Ks. I think she's gonna be ready to run a good 10K. That's just my thought.
Okay, like it. I'm gonna go with Steph Bruce. Who maybe hasn't been at her highest level, but she runs with Kellen Taylor. They're training partners every day. I have all the confidence that she will be in the top 5. I'm picking her 4th. That's my just experience is key here. Who do you got next?
Like it. I just feel like someone I could pick could be like top 5, but then also can finish like 20th.
Good. Pick that person.
They're not. Well, they're just because you don't know, like, are they in it or are they just in it? You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Are they actually in it or are they just in the race?
Well, the name's there, so you would think they're
in it. All right, I'm gonna go with. Sorry, I know I'm taking too much time. Vanessa Frazier.
Come back from injury.
Come back from injury. Let's see what she does. I'm going with Vanessa Frazier.
Yeah. Like she had surgery. We'll see. She was in a walking boot for a while.
When did she get out? But why is she in this? She's ready to run in the 31:30 race?
Yeah, I know it's a bit confusing. I could see this being a scratch. But no, I know. Listen.
What do we do? What do we do if someone scratches?
You just, you owe me 4 6-packs.
We'll draft. We'll draft. We'll draft 7. So we'll pick up the speed. So we'll draft 7 just to ensure that if people scratch, we still have 5 scores. All right, you go.
Sharon Locketti my next pick. She won the 10,000, I believe, at the Sound Running event in the summer. She's a sleeper.
Good pick.
Okay.
I'm going to
Who you
go
got?
with Rachel Schneider.
Moving up in distance here. That's a
Yeah.
bold one. Okay, gets a little tougher here. We've still got an Olympic champion on the board. Katie Izzo.
That's a good one.
She's running 15-12 or like 15-13 or something ridiculous.
I'm going to go with the Olympic champion, Gwen Jorgensen.
There you go.
Take her off the board.
How many picks have we done? Have you done like 5 and I've done 4? Or have
I've done 5
6?
and you've done 4. I've done 5 and you've done 4.
Is that it? I feel like I've done 1.
You did Kellen Taylor, Steph Bruce, Sharon Loketti, Katie Izzo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's getting a little tougher now. Maggie Montoya ran a good 10,000 at the sound running event. I don't know if she's ready to run this fast, but she kind of feels underrated. I'll go with her.
Good pick. Going off of previous sound running events.
I only people they need that sound running experience. That's I like that. I like that in my picks here.
I'm gonna go with Alicia Monson.
Ooh,
a known commodity, known name.
She was in this race. Yeah.
Oh, that's 10,000 for me.
Experience, but yeah. I will take Natasha Rogers.
Ooh, I was gonna go next. Oh, that's a good one.
Former trials runner-up, although that's been 8 years ago. But
Natasha Rogers she like quits and then she comes back and then she quits again and she comes back.
It happens.
That's what you do. All right. So with my final pick of my track meet, for all the beers competition, I'm going with, you know what? I think this woman is going to see her boyfriend smoke the rest of the field 24 hours prior, and then she's going to have that confidence to go out and do the same. I'm going with Ellie Hines of NC State.
I see.
She's dating Lewis Gerhalver, for those who don't know. There you go. I'm going with a lot of college kids.
Big report. I think we ignored a key athlete here, a sub-32 athlete. Sarah Pagano was run 31:51 and was 6th at USA's last summer. Last summer. That is a steal in my 7th round, Gordon.
I like it. So to recap, you have Kellen Taylor, Steph Bruce, Sharon Loketti, Katie Izzo, Maggie Montoya, Natasha Rogers, and Sarah Pagano. And I have Kira D'Amato, Wayne Colati, Vanessa Frazier, Rachel Schneider, Gwen Jorgensen, Alicia Monson, and Ellie Hines.
Ooh.
So
all right.
That is the first round. So time for round 2, where you get to pick first.
This is the men's race. The men's sub 27:30 race. A lot of big names in this one, but I think the first pick is obvious. It's safe. It's down the fairway. It's Edward Cheserek.
Ed Cheserek. How fast do you think he runs?
Let's see. He ran about 27:40 in the summer. Let me get the exact time for what he ran during the summer. 27:42, and I think he was jogging. I think he runs I think he's going to go for the Olympic standard. I'll say he runs 27:20.
27:20. I like it.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's I mean, he's going to be a Kenyan? Is that what the plan is?
It's hard to tell. He doesn't like the question, and so it's always up in the air. It would seem like it, right? I mean, we're months away from the Olympic trials. I mean, that he would have to. This was something would have to have changed in my eyes, and so I think he's going to be Kenyan, yeah, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get on the team. That's going to be tough, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're running 27:20, I mean, you're definitely in the mix. No, I mean, the closer you get to 27 flat, the more of you're one of the top people in the world. So
if he's competing for Kenya, if he's U.S. based and not extraordinary relative to people they already have, I just think he's going to be left off. But we'll see. I mean, he's still fun to watch, and he's the favorite here.
So I'm having trouble here with my second pick. with my first pick of this round because I want to pick someone, but I'm not sure if you're going to pick him next round. I know who I definitely want, but I don't know if I want to risk not picking him because you might pick him.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know who I'm thinking of? Do you know who I'm thinking of?
I mean, Hillary Bohr.
Okay. I don't think you're thinking. All right. I'm going with Tyler Day with
Mm,
hopes that you don't pick the person that I actually want. Tyler Day, I think he is, was on fire last year or, yeah, last winter. Um, and I think 10K is his bread and butter. I think that's where he's going to thrive the most. And I think he's going to be really confident going into this race. And I think he's going to run in that mid 27 range as well. So Tyler Day is my first pick. Now here's
okay.
me hoping you don't pick the person I wanted.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm just gonna do it just to troll you. I'm going Wesley Kiptoo as my next pick.
Dang it!
Uh,
Oh gosh! Did you know that the whole time? Were you lying to me with the Hillary Bohr pick? Oh
you
god damn it!
you showed your hand. Obviously, this is a huge. I mean, there's no risk involved here, but this guy is just at Iowa State for a few months, a year or so, and he's just run a few cross country races. But the hype around him is higher than it was for Edwin Kurgat. He's run decent times on the track, even in junior college. I think he's going to explode for a big one here and run in the 27:30s.
Yeah, damn it! That's who I wanted. I should have done it. Would you have picked Tyler Day next if I took Kiptoo?
No, no.
Dang it! So I could have had Kiptoo and Day. Gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Another. Yeah, I think Kiptoo might win. I think Kiptoo's gonna. I think Kiptoo's. I don't think he's gonna win it, but Kiptoo's gonna put people on notice. I think, like we said, we've been hearing like Dave Smith thinks Kiptoo is like unreal fast when he's seen him run twice now because they raced the Jamboree and then again at Big 12s, and he says he's a real deal. He's good. So I'm jealous he got that pick, but I got to move on. I got to pick them up, buck them up, lift them up by my bootstraps. What's the phrase? I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go with Pat Tiernan as my number 2 pick.
Fair.
NCAA champ. Patrick Tiernan.
Yeah. That's
I'll
fine.
be interested to see when's the last time he's raced. It's been. I just don't remember. I mean, when's the last time anyone's raced really? But it's kind of he was in the U.S. collegiate system, so we saw a lot of him. But then once he went pro, it's kind of been off the grid a bit.
For sure.
Did he run at Worlds? He ran at Worlds, right?
I don't remember him being there in 2019. I don't think he did, but we can check. He ran a half marathon in October. Gosh, but he's run 27:29. That's been over 3 years ago, though. No, he did run. He ran in Doha. He ran at Doha. I just didn't make the final.
Okay.
And he ran 27:31 last year. It's a good pick. I mean, that's an excellent round. What are you on round 2 now?
Yeah, I got him in round 2. So round 3 is now up. And who are you going to take?
I'm going to go with Germa Machezo. Definitely a sleeper, but he ran pretty well against Cheserek back in August. Former Oklahoma State star.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It's a really good pick because you didn't pick the guy who I wanted, and that is the number 2 punch of the 1-2 Oregon duo, Eric Jenkins.
Okay.
I think I'm excited to see what he does. He's been dealing with some injuries, right, and slowly getting himself back. I think
now.
maybe he's recognizing that the 10K is a bigger opportunity than maybe the 5K. Maybe he looks and he sees, Chalimo and all these other guys running 13 flat, and maybe Jenkins is like, hey, maybe my way to get on the Olympic team is through this 10K. And he's going to put a lot of pressure, a lot of focus on getting that standard. So I'm going with Eric Jenkins.
Okay. I am going to take. This gets a little harder now. I'll take Joe Klecker. I think it's his first 10K on the track, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. On Running Star.
Did he run a 10K like a Pac-12s or something? No, I guess no. He hasn't.
He's never 10,000. Nope. So I think this could be a really good distance for him. I'm kind of surprised he didn't take to it earlier in college. Just so good in cross country and good on the track, but 10,000 is much more attainable as a national title than the 5,000 has been. But anyways, I think this would be a distance he takes well too.
I like that pick. Do you think Joe Klecker is going to try to enter the 10K at the trials, or do you think this is just like a fitness type thing?
No, I think he'll run the 5. I mean, I guess it would depend on which event he's got a better chance, of hitting the standard for, but I would still think that's a 5,000. But he may not hit the standard in either, but I still think he'd be a 5,000 meter runner. I don't see that changing too much. I mean, maybe if you think Ritz is his coach, more of a distance guy, maybe he gets the encouragement to move up. But I think it's a little early in his career for somebody who has the mile speed that he has.
Okay, so for my pick, round 4 pick, I'm gonna go with Bia Simbasa.
Yep.
I think
I
don't know. I think he had a good breakout run. Was it 2017, 18, where he ran well? Idea. I forget there was a year when he was like in the mix at the U.S. champs in the 10K with like Chilenga and all those people, but I don't know. Anyway,
all right,
I'm going with Bia.
This has gone way over this podcast.
All right, we'll round up quickly.
Hillary Bohr is my 5th round pick.
Hillary Bohr, taking a steepler. Okay, Hillary Bohr. I'm going with Alex Masai, the Hofstra man. Going with him.
All right.
He won the road 10K at the Northeast Regional in cross country. Remember that?
Vaporflies, cross country and Vaporflies. I will take BYU's own former star Connor McMillan, who I think he was 4th at USA's, maybe 3rd at USA's last summer. Sleeper big time here as my 6th round pick.
I'm going to go with Sam Chilenga. He's still on the board. Who would have thought Sam Chilenga on the board?
Is it 2010?
No, it's 2020, baby. Crazy things happen. But Sam Chilenga.
Final round pick, another sleeper. I'm going Frank Lara. Frank Lara, who I think won a road race. He got upgraded when a guy got busted for doping. He's a sleeper. I like sleepers here.
I'm going with So the ultimate person who I know I can guarantee to get 8th place is Robert Brandt. He's always good at getting 8th place in like elite races. He did it all of his time in NCAA championships, always gets 8th or 7th. But I'm going to not do that because I'm going to go with the bigger wild card. I'm going with Reed Buchanan. Buchanan.
I'm so excited by that pick. My computer fell off. Okay, Pan Am. I think a Pan Am medalist, Reed Buchanan. Sorry, my leg fell asleep. I had to move it. Okay, solid.
So, I'll recap the teams. You have Chesrek, Kiptu, Machezo, Klecker, Bohr, McMillan, and Frank Lara. I have Tyler Day, Patrick Tiernan, Eric Jenkins, Bia Simbasa, Alex Masai, Sam Chilenga, and Reed Buchanan. We're going to score this meet. Winner gets some beer sent to them. It's going to be great. I think I have the best team, both on the men's and women's side. I think you're going to get trounced by my I always roster.
Lose, though, too. Bets with you, so I assume I will lose this one as well. All right, that will do it for us. Thanks for listening to this extra long episode. FloTrack Podcast at gmail.com is our email for myself and Gordon. We will see you back here on Monday.